I'd like to cover the standing application of the unloading harness. So this harness would be used for situations where you're going to need to provide more body weight support for the patient. It has adjustments both on the back of the harness and on the front of the harness, so you can adjust to multiple sizes and also accommodate different body shapes. So we're just going to place the top portion, just like a vest, on the patient. There we go. We want to adjust the length of the shoulder straps here to allow the waist belt to be in the appropriate position. And what we're looking for here, so let's just turn to your side a little bit and hold your arm up right there. We're looking for this to be positioned so that this comes around under the angle of the ribs, and the lower portion or portion of the belt is just over the top of the iliac crest, kind of between the iliac crest and the greater trochanter in this area, so we get a good anchor on the pelvis. So let's go ahead and just kind of face this direction a little bit. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and snap our front belt in, which has got 2 clips. We're going to get those snug. One of the key pieces or features or important elements of this particular harness is you want to tighten the front up so that these 2 front buckles here that have the red press here on the buckles, you want those in front of or just at the ASIS. So you want those a little bit in front of the patient, just like we see here. So this is a good position here. I'm going to tighten those up a little further. So you'd rather err on those being a little farther forward than too far back. So go ahead and turn around now. And once we've got that in place, we're going to go ahead and tighten up our back straps. So there's 3 back straps, and we're just going to go ahead and tighten those up. And sometimes it's easier if you just feed a little bit of webbing into the buckle. So as you're pulling one with the free end, you're kind of feeding forward with the end that is attached. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back around. So good position there. I'm going to tighten up the shoulder straps just a little bit so they don't fall off. You tighten the shoulder straps by pulling down on the free end, the black webbing here. To loosen those, you just pull up on the red or orange webbing to release that. It does have a shoulder pad that can be moved and adjusted to the patient for comfort, so it can slide forward or back a little bit, and it also is removable for washing. Okay. Now we're ready to apply the lower portion of the unloading harness. So the lower portion, the easiest way to do this in a standing position is to first of all find the 2 male-ended seatbelt buckles that are attached to the black webbing. So I just kind of hold them in this position, and you'll see these kind of just hangs in place here. So go ahead and turn around for me. The 2 black buckles here with the black webbing are going to attach to the buckles here that have just the black press area. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the height of these so that this piece of red webbing is adjusted just below the gluteal fold. So I'm going to go ahead and cinch that up a little bit. There we go. Go ahead and turn back around now. Now we're going to take, there's 2 longer pieces of a thigh cuff that are kind of come down between the leg here and have these female ends of these plastic buckles. We're going to bring those through the legs. And then we're going to take our male end here and clip it in and tighten, but it doesn't have to be real tight. Just take up the slack. Same thing on the left. Just take up the slack. Now we'll take our red buckles, which are going to come up to the seatbelt buckles with the red press button. And now we'll snug those down firmly. Okay, and then maybe re-snug any other belts that have changed position or loosened up during that process. So go ahead and turn back around. Let's show you the back, how it would look once everything is in place here with this red strap that's catching underneath the gluteal fold and comes around to the front to provide good support to the pelvic region. Good. Alternative positioning for the straps, this is the gluteal fold strap that comes up to the front part of the belt. For certain patients, if you want to give them a little more support, we found that actually crisscrossing these can be an effective way to capture the pelvic region. So we're going to take these and then clip them, and we're going to actually come all the way across in front of the patient, and clip like so, and then clip like so, and then go ahead and take up our slack here, And now we've really captured that pelvis and creates a nice tightening effect to the entire region. I want to demonstrate the application, or the seated application, of the unloading harness. So the first thing you want to do before placing the harness is approximate the size of the patient. And this takes some experience, but you'll get better with time. So I can take and adjust the back panels here a little bit if I need to. If I need to make it a little bit larger or wider, I just adjust those out. So I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger, err on the side of being a little bit big here. And then once I've got those opened up just a little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and place this around the patient here. So I'm going to lean forward. Good. And place your arm through there. And then we want to tuck this down as far as we can. As far as you can get that down behind them, the better. And if you need to, I'm going to go ahead and lengthen these shoulder straps up a little bit, just so I can tuck that down even a little further. So I'm going to lengthen that up by just pulling up on these, or lifting up on the orange tabs is the easiest way to do that. So lean forward again. We're going to tuck that down just a little bit further as far as we can. Good. Now you can go ahead and lean on back. Once we've got that in position here, we're going to take our front belts here. We want to get this again nice and low, so we're going to capture the pelvis area here and tighten and snap in our front belts. Got 2 front clips here. I'm going to snap those in place. And then real critical here is just getting these as tight as you can that the patient can tolerate in a sitting position, because as they come to standing, that's going to loosen up on them a little bit. So as tight as they can tolerate and still breathe, the better. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and take up some slack here in the shoulders. Don't want to take it all the way up, because again, as they stand, they're going to take up some of that slack as they come to a fully upright position. Okay? So now we've got the top piece of the harness on. We're going to start to put the lower piece of the harness on by, first of all, getting our lower part of the harness. And we have 2 thigh cuffs here, and they're marked with a L and an R for left and right. We want to orient those so that they're in the right orientation, the L and the R, so that we're going to place one underneath the left leg and the other one underneath the right leg. Okay? And so we're going to go ahead and take the left thigh cuff, and we're going to place it underneath the leg. And sometimes you can just kind of shimmy it like this, lift their leg up, maybe lean to the side a little bit, shimmy that up as far as you can, and then go ahead and just take up some of the slack in that cuff, and just, it doesn't have to be real tight. Now we're going to take our right, and so we've got our right here, and I'm going to just turn this a little bit here to give us a little more room, and we're going to take the right and slide it underneath the right thigh. And we're going to clip that into place, take up our slack. Next thing we're going to do is take our red seatbelt buckle here with a red webbing attached to it, and that's going to come up to this front buckle here that has the red push button. So we're going to snap that in. We're going to take up some of the slack, not quite all of it, because again, as they stand up and their hips come into extension, we're going to take up some of that slack in that process. Same thing on this side. Take up some of that slack, leave a little bit of room in there, okay? So when they come to standing, that'll take up the rest of that. So then if we have our overhead support system, whatever that may be, attached to these triangular rings here, typically we're going to use that to start to bring them to standing. And as they come to standing, so go ahead and come up to standing, and turn just a little bit now for me. As they're coming to standing, you're going to attach the 2 back belt buckles here. So turn around further. There we go, it's going to show them here. So these are going to attach to the belt buckles that have the black push button. And we're going to cinch those up. Cinch those up. And now we have everything positioned and ready for activity.